Hey y'all, this is Alex from The Rim Review. The Rim Review is a page that offers in-depth player analysis and gives nuance to the way you watch basketball. In this series, we're going to be looking over every single prospect in the upcoming NBA draft. In today's episode, we're going to go over the 24-year-old guard out of UConn, Cam Spencer. Now let's start off and explore Cam Spencer's offensive strengths. Spencer's first strength is the fact that he protects the basketball and makes extremely smart reads. That's a big reason why he has a 3.54 assist to turnover ratio. Secondly, Cam Spencer is very elite when it comes to coming off of screens, and he averages 1.13 points per possession. And an even more interesting number when looking at Cam Spencer coming off screens is the fact that he is in the 99th percentile for all college guards when it comes to the cumulative number of possessions that end with them coming off a screen. Pretty much all that means is Cam Spencer is always running around the floor. Finally, Cam Spencer is a knockdown shooter where he shoots 43.2% from behind the arc. While those numbers are impressive, there are a few glaring weaknesses to Cam Spencer's game. The first of which is the fact that he really struggles to create for himself, and only 1.4% of his possessions are in isolation. Secondly, Spencer really lacks explosiveness, scoring in the pick and roll, going downhill, or attacking closeouts. Next, Cam Spencer frequently will settle for floaters instead of finishing at the rim, and he oftentimes will take a floater or a mid-range fadeaway when there are better shots available. And finally, and what I think is the glaring weakness with his game, is the fact that he's not a true one. He was very reliant on running within UConn's system in college, and it makes some scouts question if his game is going to be able to translate to the next level. To put it short, NBA teams aren't going to be running continuation like floppy and flex series to get Cam Spencer the ball. If he comes in the NBA, he's going to have to be a backup guard to facilitate the offense, and he just didn't show that much at UConn. Let's start off and watch Cam Spencer in transition. Cam Spencer frequently showcases his shooting in transition, where he consistently looks to push for his own shot. As you see in this possession, he dribbles into a three as soon as he realizes that Cam Jones is more paying attention to this man and nobody's picking him up. While this read is very simple, look at how smooth this shot is. Just really impressive. If Cam Spencer isn't the one pushing the ball, he does a really good job sprinting ahead and getting in a good spot for three. Right here, he sprints ahead and knocks it down. If he's not sprinting ahead or pushing the ball, Cam Spencer has also shown flashes of being able to trail and get the ball on a nice pitch pack like this. Because he runs the floor so hard, there's a lot that he's able to do when it comes to shooting in transition. While this is true, Cam Spencer really struggles with dealing with more physical guards and having to score in transition. He doesn't have that much of a bag, and even though he tries to cut the court here, you can see he just doesn't get anywhere. This lack of explosiveness could really hurt him, which is surprising because he is a guard that in the pick and roll actually is able to be patient and succeed. However, in transition, it leads to looks like this. Now let's move on and watch Cam Spencer in dribble handoffs and pick and roll situations. The way that Cam Spencer likes to score in the pick and roll is by attacking drop coverage and putting a big in jail. For those of you who don't know what drop coverage is, pretty much that just means that Zach Edey is moving backwards in order to make sure that Donovan Clingan does not get below him. When you go against drop coverage, Cam Spencer likes to probe his defender and wait and make Zach Edey make a decision. If Zach Edey commits to Spencer, Spencer will get the ball to Clingan, and once Zach Edey makes the decision to go back, as you'll see here, Cam Spencer then will push and score himself. So now that we have that put kind of into perspective, let's watch this possession. As you see here, Cam Spencer's extremely patient, waits for Edey to go home, and has a nice layup. Really fundamentally sound and really smart. Right here, he calls for a drag screen, and he's going to do the exact same thing. He waits, gets his hip on his defender, and has multiple pump fakes to make a move. What Cam Spencer does a really good job is probing, which is right here when, look, he gets his butt out and makes it hard for this man to score. One thing that Cam Spencer does benefit from a lot is the fact that Donovan Clingan sets pretty solid screens That makes it really easy for him to get this separation to begin with. It may struggle if this is a weaker guard in the NBA or a weaker center in the NBA for Cam Spencer to get these kind of looks. On this next possession, Cam Spencer's hunting for contact, finishes off 2 feet, and has a nice bucket. What makes Cam Spencer hyper efficient is his ability to pass in the pick and roll. Right here, Cam Spencer attacks drop coverage, probes again, makes these multiple pump fakes, gets Edey in the air, and makes a nice dump off. I am a little worried by how reliant Cam Spencer is to pump fakes, and the lack of explosiveness may be difficult for him. Still a really crafty play. On this next possession, Cam Spencer does a really good job reading the low man. He's going to come off a screen here and then flow into an immediate pick and roll. And when this happens, Cam Spencer first recognizes that these 2 guys are now guarding him. Because these 2 guys are guarding him, this defender has to pick up number 35. When this happens, Cam Spencer realizes that there's a potential skip pass here if this man right here is too ugged up to this defender. So let's watch this at real speed, and we're going to see Cam Spencer make a nice read the low man, and a simple pass. Because number 3 on St. John's is so attached, and because this guy clears out over here, it's a really simple read. While these plays are simple still means buckets, and it's really nice to see. Cam Spencer also does a really nice job hitting the shake man on this possession. As you see, Alex Karaban lifts, really nice pass. Cam Spencer also has had the ability to throw a couple of lob passes and showcase some of the touch that he has. Right here, as this screen occurs, Cam Spencer recognizes that this defender is a little late and says, okay, I have elite athletes on UConn, I'm just going to throw this at the rim. Imagine if this is half the NBA centers that are lob threats like a Nick Claxton. This is going to be a dunk every time. On this next possession, Cam Spencer continues to showcase his passing as he hits the late roll to Donovan Clingan. What I love to see here is once again this patience from Cam Spencer. As this screen occurs, he makes this pump fake, recognizes that he's not deep enough, and says, okay, I'm going to throw it to my 7-foot stud of a center. While Cam Spencer's a really good passer in the pick and roll, at times he settles. Right here, a really good screen has occurred, yet Cam Spencer decides to take this shot. What I would like to see from Cam Spencer is a little bit more explosiveness, get downhill, maybe take another dribble in, force this defender to come up more, and then let Tristan Newton just drift to the corner, and it's a skip pass over there. I would much rather see that shot than whatever this is.
Lucas.
On this next possession, Cam Spencer is going to panic a little bit and take a floater just a little bit too early. I would really like Cam Spencer, go at this man because you have this lob threat in Donovan Clingan. He's going to be paying attention here. You could probably just go all the way and just get a layup for yourself. I don't love the floater. I see no reason why you can't take another dribble. There's no reason why you should be picking the ball up at the nail. Additionally, Cam Spencer, let's call a spade, just lacks explosiveness. Right here, he's going to get the ball for a wing ball screen. He just struggles. He can't get by anybody, and this is really concerning. You can make the simple reads all you want, but you have to have some threat to score for yourself if you're wanting to be able to get on the floor in the NBA. Right here, another screen at the top of the key. Decent contact was made, yet Cam Spencer completely settles. He's really panicked by this right here. What I would like to see, maybe this skip pass is open over here. Well, it is open, but he doesn't see it. But the number one issue is the fact that Cam Spencer just struggles to actually create something and get downhill. If you penetrate more, maybe you draw this guy in, and this pass is a little bit more open. But Cam Spencer's slow, and we just don't see it. I definitely do not consider him to be an NBA level athlete. On this next possession, we're going to watch Cam Spencer move the ball, come off a DHO, and look to shoot a nice three. What I like seeing here from Spencer is coming off the DHO with pace and making a good read to twist the ball screen. While it doesn't go in, what I love from Spencer is recognizing how quickly number 21 is pushing over here, and instead of forcing up the shot, just take a dribble over here. It's really nice and simple. Now we're going to see Cam Spencer off screen, which is where he lived at UConn. Right here, UConn is going to run what is called a flex series. Pretty much what that is Cam Spencer has the ability to set this screen here, and then Alex Karaban is going to set this screen for Cam Spencer. It's ran all the time in any league. So Cam Spencer runs the flex. And what he does here is he bumps back because he recognizes that St. John's is actually making the switch. So now Spencer's man picks up Karaban, and then Karaban's man is supposed to be on Spencer. So Spencer recognizes this and just stops running and instead goes here. And then he's able to create space. Really good stuff. We're going to see a flex series again here, where they're going to run the flex on this side. So Cam Spencer sets this punch right here, and then Donovan Clingan comes down and sets it for Cam Spencer. Watching UConn's offense is really just poetry. And they don't switch, and Cam Spencer says, okay, I'll take a 3. On this next possession, Cam Spencer once again comes off of multiple screens. Right here, he comes off of one from Karaban and Clingan, and he knocks it down. Cam Spencer does a really great job running with pace off these screens, and it's really impressive. While this is true, I don't think an NBA offense is ever going to be drawing up any of these plays for Spencer. So while it's something he can do at a really high level, he's probably never going to get the chance to actually do any of this at the NBA. What I would think instead is for him coming in and having more of a couple specialty plays, but they're definitely not going to run whole series in these flex offense that UConn runs. It's definitely more of a college offense. Right here, Cam Spencer comes off of a flare screen, pump fakes, and knocks down a 3. On this possession, Cam Spencer does not actually end up knocking down the 3. However, he has to deal with an aggressive Alabama defense. Right here, Alabama's trying to top block this screen from Donovan Clingan, and Cam Spencer does a pretty good job navigating this. He sets him up and runs with pace. So while the screen doesn't come in, what I'm really impressed of here is his ability to get number 12 off him when number 12 is so clearly trying to deny this screen. So we'll watch it again. Great setup, great screen from Clingan. It just doesn't fall. Cam Spencer also has a unique ability to come off screens and not just shoot. He frequently is able to turn the corner, and he occasionally is able to make something happen. Right here, he comes off a down screen, and once again, just a crafty finish around the rim. He really loves those pump fakes, and it's something he just spams when he plays. On this next possession, we see a very similar thing. Cam Spencer comes off a stagger screen right here, which is these multiple screens, pump fakes, and just plays with pace and gets a nice finish. What Cam Spencer does a really great job of is being comfortable and not rushed by the defense, which is really nice to see. On this possession, Cam Spencer once again runs a flex series, and he keeps his head up, and wow, just a beautiful lob pass. Another thing that Cam Spencer does really well, and it's in large part due to his experience with UConn's offense, is knowing when to cut. Right here, Cam Spencer's in the corner, initially acts like he's going to come off maybe a zoom action right here with Karaban and then flowing into a Clingan DHO. Spencer's really smart, sets him up, and goes backdoor. What I don't like about this is Cam Spencer's kind of panicking as soon as he sees help come over right here. I would like Cam Spencer to be stronger and just put up a layup. Why are we taking a fadeaway mid-range here? Cam Spencer showcases another good cut on this possession. He starts off initially slow, acts like he's not engaged in the play, and then goes really good. You don't have to be the quickest, but if you're willing to go from slow to slower, that sometimes works, and Spencer does that here. While this is true in isolation, Cam Spencer really struggles. This is one of his 2 isolation possessions on the season. That's how little he actually did it. He gets the ball here and just really doesn't get that far. I actually like the fact that he was able to get into the paint here. But once again, there's no collapsing of the paint because 14 is still completely there and present. Maybe you can kick out and reset, but there's not much time on the shot clock. So because of Cam Spencer's lack of ability to draw in the defense, there's just not much that happens, and he takes a tough shot. Additionally, when Cam Spencer attacks closeouts, it's typically straight line drives. Right here, he actually does a pretty good job making a first quick step. However, I'd like to see more. This drive is much better, and he does a good job finishing off 2 feet. While he doesn't get the most separation, I like seeing a tough finish. Overall, there's not much to look at with Cam Spencer offensively because it just didn't happen much. But the lack of those possessions, I think, is going to tell all scouts need to know. When looking at Cam Spencer defensively, there are a couple of strengths that stand out. The first of which is the fact that Spencer is a team defender. Spencer is typically in the gaps doing a pretty good job, whether that's being the MIG or that's helping on the ball, which is really good to see. Additionally, Cam Spencer has pretty active hands, so even if he gets beat, he maybe will get beat and then make an attempt at a swipe, something to make a play or save the play, which is why he has 59 steals on the season. And then something kind of random that I saw that popped out to me while watching his strengths was he frequently showcased a really good knowledge of the opponent. So, for example, in a clip we'll see later, he doesn't fully rotate onto a shooter that's not as good and instead makes the decision to stay on the better shooter. Well, this is something that I want to emphasize almost every player can do. It was something that kind of stood out a little bit more with him, and part of that is just because UConn is so well coached. The other part is he's not the best defender, so I'm kind of stretching at straws to get strengths here, but I do think it's something worth noting because it lets you know that he's going to be a guy that's going to go in and watch film. When looking at Cam Spencer defensively, unfortunately, there are a pretty large amount of weaknesses. The first of which is just the overall lack of physicality. Cam Spencer isn't that good and he's not that strong. Against a lot of more NBA talented level players, he just simply gets beat. Secondly is inconsistent driving line defense. While Cam Spencer does show flashes of being able to stay in front of guys, sometimes just a change of pace honestly makes him look like he shouldn't be out there. Next is really bad screen navigation. For someone that competes as hard as Spencer does, his off-ball screen navigation is shockingly poor and I think needs a lot of work. Finally, Cam Spencer does have a tendency to overhelp at times because UConn is so team focused. I think Cam Spencer may stay in the MIG just maybe a little bit too long and stuff like that. When talking about Cam Spencer's driving line defense really quickly, I don't necessarily know how much of it was bad defense from him and how much of it was him relying on the safety net of having Donovan Clayton protecting you at the rim. So I don't want to hold him against that too much, but I still think it's way too inconsistent for an NBA prospect. Let's start off and watch Cam Spencer's driving line defense. As I mentioned earlier, Cam Spencer has shown flashes of being a really solid driving line defender. Right here, he initially is behind, but as you see, his active hands and guarding with his chest allows him to get a stop on Lawyer. I think in particular, he had a really good march when it came to driving line defense, which is why he went from a prospect that was really guarded more as a G League or overseas player to someone that some scouts think may sneak into the NBA. When watching this possession right here, Cam Spencer does a really good job making sure that he doesn't foul. He remains vertical, which is good to see from a guard, although I don't love this flop right here. But once again, chest up and gets a nice block. On this possession, what I love seeing from Cam Spencer is the fact that he stayed down and didn't fall for any pump fakes. It's really good to see this, and it's just kind of being smart and making a good play. While the previous 3 possessions were promising, he does have far too many defensive possessions that look like this. Frequently, Cam Spencer struggles when he has to deal with guards that make contact with him, especially while he's driving. As you see right here, just this little nudge completely takes Cam Spencer out of the play. Bump occurs, and Cam Spencer's out of it. Now, part of that may have been him falling and trying to draw a foul. However, I think it's a larger reason is because Cam Spencer is very much a reactionary defender. He's not getting into the offensive player and forcing them to do what they're going to do. He instead just kind of tries to make attempts. And as you see right here, once the guard stops, boom, Cam Spencer's out of it. You just can't have that. When it comes to pick and roll screen navigation, Cam Spencer is pretty poor. Right here, Cam Spencer does a good job navigating through the screen, and actually it's one of his few good possessions at this. What I really love seeing from Cam Spencer here is the fact that he comes out after the screen, jumps up with active hands, and remains vertical. It makes this pass almost impossible, especially for a college player. Unfortunately, Cam Spencer frequently is clipped during ball screens. Right here, Cam Spencer gets screened, completely taken out of the play, and really can't do anything. And this screen really isn't that physical. It gets him a little bit, but just look how much this bump causes him to just kind of fall out of it. Against DePaul, who is one of the worst teams in college basketball history, Cam Spencer is still taken out of the play. Right here, Cam Spencer is playing way too low. You need to be up, you need to be more aggressive. He tries to go under the screen and does a decent job getting back. However, why are we trying to go under? Let's bully a ball screen. Let's show people what you can do. You're playing DePaul, like, come on. Once again, we're going to see Cam Spencer struggle to navigate through screens. This screen's going to occur up here. He's competing, but he just is awkward getting out of it. Like, watch how this occurs, completely changes his body, and then when he comes back, it's night-night. His feet are all over the place, and he's just not moving well. Now let's finish off and watch Cam Spencer play off the ball. On this possession, Cam Spencer initially does a really good job being the MIG against Zach Edey. This means he's in this possession, ready to catch him. While if this pass was thrown, there wasn't much he'd be able to do against Zach Edey. I like seeing him in the right spot. He then moves and gets into a nice closeout on Mason Gillis, and then does a really good job fully rotating over. Watch this, as soon as this pass, before it even gets over to Braden Smith right here, he's already moving and having a full rotation. It's just really smart and good to see. However, I do think that this is maybe more of a reflection on UConn just being so well coached. On this possession, Cam Spencer does a really good job knowing his personnel on the closeout. So Cam Spencer is in the help side here, fully rotating. However, this man shoots 35% from three, while this man shoots 23% from three. So Cam Spencer makes the right call and just stunts at the man with the ball and then goes back. This is really good because if he had fully ran at him, it would just be an extra pass and a much better shooter would get a three. While it's something that all players can do, it's rare to see it as consistently as you would from Spencer. Cam Spencer also has abilities to fly by on closeouts. However, sometimes this means he might fall for pump fakes. On this possession, Creighton runs an elevator screen. He does a good job fighting through that. He helps here. However, once again, he's a little overly aggressive. I'm not sure why Cam Spencer is moving down here. You have Donovan Clingan for a reason. And Cam Spencer comes in too deep. And then when he comes by, he's jumping and he's kind of desperate. I think this is more a reflection of the fact that Cam Spencer was drawn in way too deep here. And this is what I alluded to earlier with his tendency to overhelp. On this possession, Cam Spencer is going to fire, which is what we would call doubling in the post. So right here, Eric Dixon has the ball. Cam Spencer comes over to double, which is good. And I really love this rotation from UConn. And this is just more UConn just being UConn. Caravan takes Justin Moore, and Cam Spencer sprints out to the corner, which is really good to see. However, Cam Spencer, we need to chop our feet and be much better on our closeout. It's such a great rotation. However, the lack of just athleticism and footwork really kind of ruins the clip. When evaluating Cam Spencer, it's really hard to determine what his future could look like in the NBA. I think his ceiling, if everything's able to work out and he's able to put things together, could be a career where he's able to maybe be like an 8-year backup guard. And I'm talking about like 99th percentile, everything goes right outcome. If Cam Spencer is able to develop a little bit more of a handle and creativity for himself, work on some of the issues he has defensively, maybe put on a few more pounds, I could see him maybe carving out a career, maybe not as good, but like a poor man's TJ McConnell, or maybe you could have a career like, think Brian Roberts from about like 8 years ago. I could see that being something that Cam Spencer could have if everything works out for him. I think the more likely outcome for Cam Spencer is him getting a two-way contract, maybe playing in the NBA for 1 or 2 years. If he gets minutes, it'll probably be because he's on a bad team, and then going over Europe and having a fruitful career over there. I think the floor for Cam Spencer, and what does cause some concern when evaluating him, is it worth giving him a two-way contract to begin with? A lot of NBA teams, like, you only get 3, and most NBA teams have pretty much have 1 or 2 of them already locked up due to contracts that they've already signed. For example, Leaky Black for the Hornets already has his two-way going into next year. And so that leaves a lot of NBA teams with only one or two two-way contracts that they can actually give out. And if I'm an NBA GM, I would much rather take somebody with a higher upside that you could maybe develop into being someone that is a key piece for your organization. For example, if you're an NBA GM, you could maybe pick up Jameer Watkins as an undrafted free agent from Florida State, and all of a sudden you have an athlete that's a better defender that maybe you can work on developing a shot. And if everything comes together, now you have somebody that has really high upside. I also think with Cam Spencer, you're really just providing more depth as a backup guard. And if you ever get to a point where enough injuries occur, you could always sign him as a 10-day contract player later on. And this is why I do have some concerns as if he will get a two-way contract. I would be a bit surprised if he was drafted, especially because there's a lot more higher upside picks. Like guys like Adem Bona are being projected to being drafted in the 50s. I would much rather take that level of high upside over Cam Spencer. So I definitely think he will probably go undrafted. And I think the real question comes into how he plays in Summer League and if an NBA team likes him enough to justify taking a lower upside two-way guy that has a higher floor. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Cam Spencer. Either way, I think it's really impressive for him to have had such a good March that he's even on any NBA scouts board to begin with, because going into this year, most people had never heard of him. That being said, that's my take, and thank you for watching another episode of The Rim Review.